Alien control us, so we show them what the spirit of the samurai is like. Beneath Earth's forgotten sands, a samurai's bow lay dormant, its ancient power waiting to challenge an alien empire. Ryo Shin knelt on the windswept sands of Earth's Pacific Peninsula, the ancient samurai bow in his hands, its wood whispering of forgotten eras. The year was 3090, and Earth lay barren, its air heavy with salt and ruin. "We left Earth 5 centuries ago," Ryo said, his voice low, sharp, to Kaori Yume beside him. "Climate collapsed, storms tore cities apart, and resources dried up. Humanity had no choice but to flee." His samurai armor glinted under Ikari's twin moons, reflected faintly on Earth's desolate horizon. "Ikari's our creation, floating stations with mountains carved from asteroids, seas forged in vast tanks, all orbiting a new star. It's home, alive with green oceans and crystal spires, where we blend old ways with tech." Kaori, gripping her recurved bow, nodded. "Ikari's a fortress," Ryo continued, eyes on the relic. "Samurai spirit thrives there, but Aloria's coming to test it." He stood, bow raised, ready to defend their crafted paradise. Ryo Shin crouched low, his gloved hands scraping through the coarse sand of Earth's Pacific Peninsula. His tall frame, draped in lightweight armor blending samurai tradition with quantum enhancements, moved with precision. Long black hair swept back from his sharp eyes, and he brushed aside dirt to reveal a glint of dark wood. The bow, its curves etched with kanji from Japan's Kamakura era, emerged from the earth like a specter of the past. Ryo, a warrior smith of 28 years, traced the carvings, recognizing the craftsmanship of samurai who ruled Japan's battlefields centuries ago. He lifted the bow, its polished surface cool against his palms, and tested its weight with a slow draw. Kaori Yumi knelt beside him, her slender form clad in a flowing cloak over sleek armor. She adjusted her grip on a traditional recurved bow, her movements fluid as she scanned the relic. "This is no mere artifact," she said, her voice clipped, professional. She brushed a strand of dark hair from her face, her piercing gaze fixed on the bow's intricate designs. Kaori, a master archer, ran her fingers along the wood, noting its flawless preservation. The peninsula's cliffs loomed in the distance, their jagged edges cutting against the pale glow of Ikari's twin moons reflecting off Earth's abandoned surface. The air carried a salty tang, disturbed only by the hum of their shuttle parked nearby. Elder Akihiro approached, his ancient samurai armor clinking softly with each step. His silver beard framed a weathered face, and his hands, steady despite age, reached for the bow. "A weapon of our ancestor," he said, voice low, authoritative. He turned the bow, inspecting its kanji, symbols of duty from the Sengoku period, when samurai forged legends. Akihiro, Ryo's mentor, had trained him to merge tradition with quantum forging, a skill Ryo honed over the years. He handed the bow back, his gaze steady. "This carries their spirit. Guard it well." Ryo slung the ancient bow over his shoulder, securing it beside his quantum-crafted weapon. He notched an arrow, not one of his glowing, nuclear-charged designs, but a simple wooden shaft from his pack. Drawing the string, he aimed at a weathered boulder across the dunes. The bow thrummed as he released, the arrow slicing through the air to shatter the rock with a sharp crack. Kari stepped forward, her cloak catching the wind. "That shot wasn't your tech," she said, her tone matter-of-fact. Ryo nodded, gripping the bow tighter. The string's tension felt alive, unlike the cold precision of his quantum creations. Akihiro's eyes flicked skyward, where stars glittered beyond Earth's thin atmosphere. "The samurai fought with honor, not machine," he said, adjusting his armor's chestplate. "This bow is a reminder." His words carried the weight of history, urging Ryo to look beyond his forge. The elder had long taught that Ikari's quantum bows, capable of piercing energy shields, were rooted in ancient ways. Yet those ways were fading, overtaken by tech that made warriors unstoppable. Ryo's quantum arrows could devastate targets from kilometers away, but this relic demanded respect. A low vibration shook the ground, and Ryo's wrist scanner chirped, detecting signals from Aeloria's fleet at the system's edge. The alien empire, known for subjugating worlds, had been spotted days prior, their obsidian ships a growing threat. Kaori's hand tightened on her bow. They're moving closer, she said, already striding toward the shuttle. Its engines idled, ready for the journey back to Ikari. Rio followed, the ancient bow secure on his back. Akihiro trailed, his steps deliberate. The old ways may guide us yet, he said, climbing aboard. The shuttle's interior gleamed with polished steel, its controls glowing softly. Rio secured the bow in a compartment, its wood stark against the shuttle's sleek lines. Kari took the co-pilot's seat, her fingers dancing over navigation panels. "Ikari's waiting," she said, her voice steady as the engines roared to life. The craft lifted off, kicking up sand as it climbed. Akihiro sat silently, his armor reflecting the console's light. He spoke without looking up. "Study that bow, Rio. It's more than a weapon." As the shuttle broke Earth's atmosphere, Ikari's green oceans came into view, a beacon across the stars. Eloria's fleet loomed closer, their signals now stronger. Rio's hands worked instinctively, checking his quantum bow's energy core. The ancient bow rested nearby, its presence a quiet challenge. Akihiro's voice cut through the hum. "The samurai's strength was their will. That bow carries it." Rio met Kari's gaze, her nod confirming their shared resolve. "We'll face them," Rio said, his voice firm, "with everything we've got." The shuttle descended toward Ikari's capital, its spires rising like blades against the night. Alarms echoed as they landed, signaling Eloria's approach. Rio stepped onto the platform, the ancient bow in hand, its weight grounding him. The city buzzed with activity, warriors arming, ships powering up. Kari checked her quiver, her recurved bow ready. Akihiro adjusted his armor, his presence a steady anchor. The ancient bow, a relic of Earth's past, felt like a promise. Rio didn't yet know its role, but as Eloria's shadow grew, he sensed it would define their fight. Eloria's warships tore through Ikari's sky, obliterating defenses in minutes. Rio Shin's quantum arrow struck back, a lone spark against an alien storm. On June 15, 3090, Eloria's obsidian ships hit Ikari, destroying outer stations in 45 minutes. Rio Shin stood on a city spire, his samurai armor gleaming, quantum bow in hand. His long black hair snapped in the wind as he aimed at a frigate 3 kilometers out, threatening a civilian district. He loosed a glowing arrow, its nuclear tip piercing the ship's shield and blasting it apart. The district below stood safe. Koriyum joined him, her slim frame moving fast, cloak flaring over armor. She fired her recurved bow, downing a drone with a clean shot. "Your quantum bow's too strong," she said, voice sharp. "Something's wrong." Her eyes caught the bow's odd hum, her traditional training making her wary. She'd felt drained after using a quantum arrow, a strange fatigue now fading. Elder Akihiro, in ancient samurai armor, directed warriors nearby. His silver beard swayed as he shouted, "Fight with spirit, not just tools." He urged Rio and Kaori to join the city's defense line. His eyes flicked to Rio's bow, a shadow of doubt crossing his face. A warrior, Taro, stumbled close, pale after firing quantum arrows. "I'm good now," he said, recovering fast, too fast. Rio worked his portable forge, crafting new arrows, each packed with nuclear force. Kaori picked up a fallen arrow, spotting an alien glyph on its shaft. "This isn't ours," she muttered, tucking it away. The team boarded a shuttle, speeding 8,000 kilometers to Ikari's main station in 1 hour. Akihiro, at the helm, spoke of samurai who fought invaders with steel alone. "We carry their strength," he said, voice firm. The words hit hard, but Rio felt the bow's hum, a faint tug in his mind. The station gleamed, a fortress of steel and crystal. Alarms screamed as Eloria's next wave closed in. Rio led a squad to a turret, firing a quantum arrow to shred a scout ship. Kaori's recurved down drones, her shots precise. Taro, now grinning, fired wildly. "We're unstoppable," he laughed, voice off. Kaori shot Rio a look, her unease clear. Akihiro joined them, armor clinking. "Control the weapon, not the other way around," he said. Rio nodded, but the bow's hum grew louder. Kaori leaned in. "We'll check it after this." Eloria's fleet loomed larger, scanners showing their numbers. Rio raised his bow, calling, "Hit them now!" Arrows flew, lighting the void, A brief win in a growing war. The fight paused. Rio stood at a viewport, Akari's oceans below. His quantum bow hummed, its power clear but strange. Kaori cleaned her recurve, eyeing the glyph. Akihiro watched silently. Rio had saved lives, but the bow's mystery lingered. The next battle waited, bigger, darker. Eloria's war machines tore through Akari's skies, their towering forms casting shadows of doom. Rio Shin's quantum arrows burned bright, but the battlefield's chaos hinted at a deeper betrayal. On June 20th, 3090, Akari's capital shuddered under Eloria's second assault. Giant robots, 15 meters tall, crashed through the city's outer defenses, their steel feet pulverizing crystal spires. Laser cannons roared, carving molten scars across streets. Ryoshin stood atop a crumbling tower, his samurai armor sparking, quantum bow drawn taut. His long black hair whipped in the wind as he aimed 4 kilometers out, targeting a robot's glowing core. His arrow, pulsing with nuclear force, streaked through the air, piercing the machine's shield. The robot erupted, flames licking the sky, debris raining over the shattered district below. Kaori Yume darted through rubble, her recurved bow snapping off shots. Her cloak flared over her armor as she felled drones swarming like locusts, each arrow striking a sensor with lethal precision. "These quantum bows hit too hard," she shouted over the din, her sharp eyes flicking to Rio's weapon. Its hum was louder, unnatural, pulsing in rhythm with the chaos. She'd fired a quantum arrow earlier, and a strange weight lingered in her limbs, now fading but wrong. Elder Akihiro commanded from a barricade, his ancient armor scarred. A laser grazed his shoulder, slicing through plating, blood welling. He grunted, but the wound knitted shut in seconds, an eerie glow fading from his skin. "The bow's power," he said, gripping his blade, silver beard catching the light of explosions. He waved Rio and Kaori to a defensive line, where warriors fired quantum arrows, lighting the battlefield in bursts of energy. The robots advanced, 5 in number, their cannons leveling entire blocks. Rio sprinted across a collapsing bridge, firing mid-stride. His arrow struck a robot's leg, crippling it, the machine toppling into a spire with a deafening crash. Kaori vaulted over debris, her recurve loosing arrows that pierced drone wings, sending them spiraling. A 6th robot emerged, its shield deflecting quantum shots. Rio adjusted, aiming for a weak joint, his arrow blasting through, sparks flying as the giant fell. Drones swarmed thicker, 20 at once, their red sensors locking on. Kaori ducked a laser, firing back, her arrow splitting a drone's core. "Last night," she called to Rio, dodging another blast, "I dreamed something watched me after firing." Her voice cut through the chaos, urgent. Rio's bow hummed louder, a strange pull tugging his thoughts, urging him to fire again. He loosed another arrow, destroying a drone, but the hum lingered, like a voice not his own. The battle raged for hours, smoke choking the air. A warrior, Taro, fired quantum arrows relentlessly, then turned, eyes wild, shoving a teammate. "We're invincible," he snarled, his bow glowing unnaturally. The scuffle drew drones, lasers cutting closer. Akihiro stepped in, blade raised. "Calm your spirit," he barked, teaching sharp breaths to quell the chaos. Taro relented, but his grip on the bow tightened, fingers twitching. Kaori scrambled to a ruined archive, pulling a data slate from the wreckage. Its cracked screen flickered, showing alien schematics, bows laced with control signals. "This is theirs," she said, showing Rio a glyph matching his arrows. He nodded, jaw tight, as lasers screamed overhead. The team fought back, Rio's quantum arrows blasting through a robot's chest, Kaori's recurved downing drones. Akihiro's blade flashed, cleaving a drone in half, his movement slowing from his wound. The fight paused, Eloria's forces retreating briefly. The team boarded a shuttle, bound for a nearby planet to chase intel. The trip took 2 days, Akari's green oceans fading behind. In the cabin, Akihiro led a meditation, his voice steady. "Breathe deep, hold your will," he said, calming the team's frayed nerves. Rio's bow hummed softly, its pull unsettling. Kaori, clutching the slate, met his eyes. "We need answers," she said, voice firm. The shuttle landed on a barren world, its surface cracked under a dim star. An outpost lay in ruins, data chips scattered. Rio pocketed them, his quantum bow heavy. Taro's aggression flared again, firing at nothing, shouting about enemies. Akihiro restrained him, blade at the ready. Control, not chaos, he said. The team prepared to move, doubt clawing at them. Rio's bow pulsed, a traitor's whisper. Kari's recurve stayed true, her gaze resolute. Eloria's shadow loomed over Ikari, but a darker truth pulsed within Rio's quantum bow. On a derelict station, whispers of betrayal surfaced, threatening to unravel humanity's fight. On June 25, 3090, Rio Shin's shuttle touched down on a crumbling space station, 300 kilometers from Ikari's orbit. Its hull, scarred by centuries of neglect, floated in the void, lit by the faint glow of Ikari's twin moons. Rio, in his samurai armor, stepped onto the rusted deck, his quantum bow slung across his back. His long black hair was tied tight, his sharp eyes scanning the dark corridors. The station's air was stale, its panels flickering with ghost signals. Kaori Yume followed, her recurved bow gripped tightly, her cloak brushing the floor. Her slender frame moved with precision, eyes piercing the gloom. Elder Akihiro, his ancient armor clinking, trailed behind, his silver beard catching stray light. "Stay sharp," he said, voice low. "This place holds answers." Rio knelt at a shattered console, his gloved hands prying open its casing. He plugged in a scanner, its screen flashing with data streams. The quantum bow, resting beside him, hummed faintly, its core glowing. Lines of code revealed a hidden signal, pulsing in sync with the bow's energy. "This isn't ours," Rio said, voice clipped, tracing an alien glyph on the screen. It matched the one Kaori found days ago. The signal looped, a subtle frequency buried in the bow's core, like a leash waiting to tighten. Kaori stood guard, her recurve drawn. Her breath hitched, eyes glazing briefly. "I saw it again," she said, snapping back. "A shadow in my mind, watching." She described a vision, firing her quantum bow, then a cold presence gripping her thoughts. Her hands shook, but she steadied them, gripping her traditional bow tighter. "It's the quantum arrows," she said, voice firm. "They're controlling us." Rio's jaw tightened, the scanner's data confirming her fear. The bow's hum felt louder now, a whisper urging him to fire. Akihiro sat on a broken crate, his armor scratched from the last battle. "The samurai face such traps," he said, his voice steady. "Legends tell of blades forged by enemies, binding their wielders. We trusted too quickly." His story spoke of a Sengoku warlord, betrayed by a gifted sword that turned him against his allies. The elder's eyes met Rio's, heavy with meaning. "These bows are no gift," he added, tapping his blade. Rio nodded, the ancient bow from Earth, now strapped to his pack, feeling like a lifeline. The team agreed to test their suspicions. A small Elorian scout drone, no bigger than a man, buzzed into the station's hangar. Rio hesitated, then slung his quantum bow aside, grabbing the ancient samurai bow. He notched a wooden arrow and fired, the shot grazing the drone's hull. Kari's recurve followed, piercing its core. The drone crashed, sparking. Without the quantum bows, their shots were weaker, but Rio's mind felt clear, unclouded by the strange hum. "It's slower," Kari said, "but I'm me." Taro, another warrior, scoffed, clutching his quantum bow. "We need power to win," he snapped, his voice sharp, eyes glinting unnaturally. Taro's defiance sparked tension. "You're blind," he told Rio, stepping close, his quantum bow raised. "These bows make us gods." Rio's hand hovered over his ancient bow, ready to draw. "They make us tools," he shot back, voice hard. The air crackled, warriors shifting uneasily. Kori stepped between them, her recurve lowered. "We fight for Ikari, not Eloria," she said, her tone cutting through the standoff. "Trust the old ways, Taro. They kept us human." Taro backed down, but his grip on the quantum bow tightened, his gaze distant. Alarms blared. More drones swarmed the station, their red sensors glowing in the dark. "Move!" Rio shouted, grabbing his ancient bow. The team sprinted through collapsing corridors, metal groaning under laser fire. Kaori fired recurve arrows, each shot precise, downing drones. Ryo's ancient bow sang, its wooden arrows striking true, though less destructive. Akihiro swung his blade, cleaving a drone in half, his armor sparking. A larger Aelorian craft appeared, its cannons charging. Ryo aimed the ancient bow, its string taut, and fired at a fuel cell. The craft exploded, buying them time. "That bow's alive," Kaori said, panting, as they reached the shuttle. Akihiro, catching his breath, spoke as they boarded. "I've suspected the quantum bows for months," he said, his voice low. "Their power blinds us." His admission hit hard, his ancient armor a stark contrast to the station's tech. Ryo strapped the samurai bow to his back. The quantum bow was left untouched. Kaori checked her recurve, her eyes steady. "We need to break their hold," she said, sliding into the pilot's seat. The shuttle roared to life, escaping the station as it crumbled behind them. The void stretched before them, Ikari's green glow distant. Ryo studied the scanner's data. The alien signal was a clear threat. The quantum bow, still humming, sat in its case, a traitor in their midst. Akihiro's voice cut through. "The samurai won by knowing their enemy," he said. "Find their source." Ryo nodded, resolve hardening. Kaori plotted a course to a nearby planet, their next lead. The team's doubt had grown into purpose, but the path ahead was treacherous, Aloria's grip tightening with every shot they'd fired. Aloria's core world hid the truth of their quantum trap. Ryo Shin led a desperate mission, ancient bow in hand, to break humanity's chains. On July 3090, Ryo Shin's shuttle, flanked by 3 elite government fleets, each with 12 warships, slipped through the void toward Aloria's core planet. The journey, dodging enemy patrols, took 4 days, covering 120,000 kilometers. Ryo, in his samurai armor, stood at the helm, the ancient bow from Earth strapped to his back. His black hair was tied tight, eyes sharp, scanning for threats. Koriyume checked her recurved bow, her cloak tucked under her armor, ready for combat. Elder Akihiro, his silver beard glinting under console lights, adjusted his ancient armor, his blade sheathed. "Stay focused," he said, voice steady. "Their world holds the key." Ryo worked at a portable forge, merging the ancient bow's design with quantum tech. He carved new arrows, blending wood with microcircuits, creating a hybrid weapon to counter Aloria's signal. The forge glowed, heating to 100 degrees Celsius as he shaped each shaft with precision. "This bow fights their control," he said, testing a string that vibrated with both tradition and tech. Kari nearby drilled the team in traditional archery, her recurve snapping as she hit targets 50 meters away. "Back to basics," she said, her voice firm. "No quantum hum, just skill." Her shots rang true, warriors following her lead, their movements sharp. Akihiro gathered the team in the shuttle's hold, leading a meditation session. "Breathe deep, hold your spirit," he instructed, his voice calm over the hum of engines. For 20 minutes they sat cross-legged, eyes closed, resisting the quantum bow's pull. Akihiro's technique, rooted in samurai discipline, cleared their minds, shielding them from alien whispers. Ryo's thoughts steadied, the ancient bow's weight grounding him. Kori's face softened, her focus razor-sharp. The shuttle landed on Aloria's core planet, a jagged world of black spires and pulsing red lights. Drones ambushed them, 30 in number, their lasers cutting through the dark. The team fought for 3 hours, Ryo's hybrid arrows piercing drone cores, each shot sparking without the quantum hum. Kari's recurve downed 5 drones, her movements a blur. Akihiro's blade flashed, slicing a drone in half. A trap sprang, energy nets closing in. Ryo fired a hybrid arrow, disrupting the net's field, freeing the team. "Keep moving," he shouted, leading the charge. In a ruined control hub, Ryo hacked a terminal, its screens flickering with alien code. After 15 minutes, he cracked it, revealing Aloria's plan. Quantum bows were tools to enslave humanity, turning warriors into puppets for galactic conquest. "They've planned this for decades," Ryo said, voice hard, sharing the data with Kaori. Her eyes widened, but a sudden pulse from a nearby quantum buoy hit Rio. Shadows flooded his mind, urging him to fire on his team. Kaori grabbed his arm, her voice cutting through. "Fight it, Rio!" She pressed the ancient bow into his hands, its wood snapping him back. He gasped, vision clearing. The team scouted further, finding 12 warriors, eyes glazed, wielding quantum bows under Aeloria's control. Kaori spoke to them, her words sharp, recalling samurai honor. 3 broke free, joining the group, their quantum bows discarded. Rio tested his hybrid tech on a captured drone, its signal jamming Aeloria's control for 10 seconds. Akihiro, risking his strength, fired a hybrid arrow, his arm trembling, but the shot was true. "It works," he said, voice strained, proving the tech's promise. The hub shook, Aeloria's forces closing in. Rio pocketed the data, his hybrid bow ready. Kaori slung her recurve, eyes fierce. "We end this control," she said. Akihiro nodded, his armor scarred, but his stance firm. "The samurai fought for freedom," he said. "So will we." The team boarded the shuttle, engines roaring, ready to strike at Aeloria's heart. The ancient bow, now fused with Rio's tech, was their edge. The mission was clear: destroy the quantum link or fall to its chains. Rio Shin crouched in the shadowed control hub of Aeloria's core planet, his samurai armor glinting under flickering red lights. His long black hair clung to his sweat-slicked forehead as he pried open a terminal, its alien circuits pulsing. The quantum bow slung across his back thrummed, its glow now sinister. Kaori Yum stood guard, her recurved bow drawn, cloak tucked tight over her armor. Her sharp eyes scanned the dark, her slim frame tense. Elder Akihiro, his ancient armor scarred, leaned against a wall, his silver beard catching the terminal's glow. "Hurry," he said, voice low. "Their drones are close." Rio's scanner hummed, linking to the terminal. Lines of code flashed, revealing a chilling truth. The quantum bows were Aeloria's design, seeded to Akari decades ago. Each arrow carried a signal, embedding control into the shooter's mind. Rio's hands froze, the bow's hum now a mocking pulse. "They built this," he said, voice hard. "We've been their tools." Corey's gaze snapped to him, her recurve steady. "All of it?" she asked, her tone sharp. The data confirmed it. Every shot they fired tightened Aeloria's grip. Corey's eyes widened as 2 warriors, Taro and Hana, entered the hub, their quantum bows glowing. Their movements were stiff, eyes glazed, firing at shadows that weren't there. "They're not themselves," Kaori whispered, lowering her bow. Taro's voice was flat, mechanical. "Serve Aeloria," he intoned, raising his weapon. Hana followed, her shots wild but deadly, powered by an unnatural strength. Kaori dodged a glowing arrow, its tip scorching the floor. "They're immortal," she said, voice tight, realizing the bows granted endless stamina but stole their will. Akihiro stepped forward, his blade drawn. "The bows amplify power," he said, dodging a shot. "Each use binds the mind deeper." His voice carried the weight of samurai lore, recalling tales of cursed weapons that turned warriors into puppets. He explained the mechanism. The quantum signal hijacked neural pathways, making users stronger but obedient. "We trusted too much," he added, his armor clinking as he blocked Taro's advance. Rio's stomach churned, his faith in his craft shattered. The bow he'd forged, his pride, was a leash. Rio's hands shook, the terminal's data searing his thoughts. "All our tech," he said, voice breaking. "It's theirs." He stared at the quantum bow, its hum now a taunt. Kaori grabbed his shoulder, her grip firm. "The ancient bow," she said, pointing to the samurai relic on his pack. "It's clean. It's ours." Her words cut through, grounding him. She drew her recurve, its wood steady in her hands. "We fight with what we know," she said, her voice a quiet fire. Alarms screamed, drones swarmed the hub, their red sensors locking on. Rio grabbed his hybrid bow, the one fusing ancient wood with his new anti-quantum tech. He fired an arrow, disrupting a drone signal, sending it crashing. Kaori's recurve snapped, downing 2 more. Akihiro swung his blade, cleaving a drone, but a laser caught his chest, tearing through his armor. He staggered, blood pooling, his face pale but resolute. "Keep going," he rasped, leaning on his sword. The team fought back, Rio's hybrid arrows jamming the drone's controls, buying time. Kari dragged Akihiro to cover, her recurve firing as she moved. Ryo hacked deeper into the terminal, downloading Aloria's control schematics. The data revealed a central hub 500 kilometers away, powering the quantum signal. "We hit that! We break them!" Rio said, voice steadying. The drones pressed closer, their lasers scorching walls. Rio fired another hybrid arrow, its pulse scattering the swarm. Kari's shots covered their flank, her recurve a blur. Akihiro, clutching his wound, nodded. "Plan the strike," he said, voice weak but firm. The team planned a rebellion, targeting Aloria's hub. They'd rally controlled warriors, using Rio's hybrid tech to free them. Kari scouted the hub's perimeter, spotting 20 enthralled warriors patrolling, their quantum bows glowing. "We can save them," she said, her voice resolute. Rio nodded, his hybrid bow ready, the ancient wood warm in his grip. Akihiro, blood staining his armor, forced himself upright. "I've seen this before," he said, his eyes distant. "Samurai broke free by will. We will too." Drones surged again, forcing a retreat. Rio fired hybrid arrows, each shot weakening Aloria's signal. Kari's recurve cleared a path, her arrows striking true. Akihiro limped behind, his blades slashing a final drone. They reached the shuttle, its engines roaring. Kaori piloted, her hands steady, while Ryo secured Akihiro, his wound grave but stable. "We end this," Ryo said, the hybrid bow in hand, its pulse now his own. Kari glanced back, her eyes fierce. "For Ikari," she said. The shuttle lifted off, Aloria's spires fading below. The quantum bow, now a traitor, sat discarded. Rio clutched the hybrid, its ancient roots a defiance of alien control. Akihiro's breathing was shallow, but his gaze held fire. "The samurai fought for truth," he whispered. The central hub waited, a fortress of lies. Tension gripped the team, their plans set but the cost unknown. Aloria's hold was breaking, but the final fight loomed, ready to test their will. Aloria's commander emerged from the shadows, his form a nightmare of alien supremacy. Rio Shin's rage ignited, but a surge of energy twisted his will, turning ally against ally in a storm of betrayal. The central hub of Aloria's core planet loomed, its black spires piercing the red sky. Rio Shin led the charge, his hybrid bow drawn, samurai armor scarred from battles. Kaori Yumi flanked him, recurve bow ready, her cloak torn. Elder Akihiro limped behind, blade in hand, his wound from the last fight bandaged. The team stormed the hub's entrance, lasers firing from hidden turrets. Rio loosed a hybrid arrow, shattering a turret, sparks flying. Kaori shot down a drone, its wreckage crashing. Akihiro slashed another, metal screeching. From the shadows of the hub's core chamber, a figure stepped out. The Alorian commander towered at 7 feet, his skin scaled like obsidian armor, tentacles writhing from his shoulders. His eyes glowed crimson, slits narrowing as he raised a clawed hand. "Humans," he hissed, voice echoing through speakers. "Your quantum bows are our creation. Each shot weaves our control into your minds, turning you into eternal soldiers for Aloria." He gestured to a console, screens flickering with data on Ikari's warriors, signals pulsing from every bow. Rio's grip tightened on his hybrid bow. He aimed, arrow notched. "You're lying," he shouted, releasing. The arrow streaked toward the commander, but a force field deflected it. The commander's eyes flared red, brighter. Suddenly, a wave of energy surged from the console, invisible but crushing. It hit Rio like a storm, his quantum bow, still carrying traces of Aloria's signal, pulsing violently. His body jerked, eyes glazing over. "Serve Aloria," a voice commanded in his head. Rio turned, bow raised, firing at his team. The first quantum arrow slammed toward Kaori. She dove, the shot exploding a wall behind her, debris raining. Rio advanced, expression blank, losing another to Akihiro. The elder blocked with his blade, the arrow grazing his arm, drawing blood. "Rio!" Kaori yelled, scrambling up. The team scattered as Rio fired relentlessly, quantum arrows piercing the chamber, causing explosions. Two warriors fell, wounded in the initial barrage. The attack lasted 2 hours, Rio pursuing them through corridors, his shots precise and unending. Kari circled back, using cover from fallen pillars. She notched an arrow to her ancient recurved bow, aiming low. "Hold still," she muttered, releasing. The wooden arrow struck Rio's leg, pinning him temporarily without fatal damage. He staggered, bow dropping slightly. Kaori rushed in, tackling him, her hands pinning his arms. "Fight it!" she commanded, pressing the ancient samurai bow against his chest. Rio thrashed, his quantum bow humming louder, but the ancient wood disrupted the signal briefly. Akihiro charged forward, blade raised. Drones swarmed from vents, firing lasers. He cleaved 3, but a shot hit his chest, widening his earlier wound. Blood poured as he reached Rio. "The key!" he gasped, gripping Rio's shoulder. "Break the bow's core. Shatter the signal with will." He shoved a data chip into Rio's hand, then turned, blade flashing to block a drone's attack. A laser pierced his back. He fell, body shielding the team, his sacrifice buying seconds. Chaos erupted as more warriors, influenced by quantum bows, turned. Taro fired at Hana, his eyes glazed. "For Aloria!" he roared. Hana retaliated, arrows clashing in midair. The inner war spread, teams fracturing into skirmishes. Lasers and arrows filled the hub, walls crumbling. Kaori dragged Rio to cover, dodging shots. A warrior lunged at her. She fired her recurve, downing him non-lethally. Rio blinked, the ancient bow's touch clearing his mind momentarily. He convulsed, hands clawing at his head. "Get out!" he growled, fighting the voice inside. His body twitched, trying to raise the quantum bow again. Kaori held him down, her recurve aimed at approaching threats. "Remember who you are," she said, voice steady. Kaori took command, rallying survivors. She fired recurve arrows tipped with disruptors, striking quantum bows, freeing 2 warriors. "Target the cores!" she shouted, leading a counterattack. Her shots disrupted signals, one by one. Warriors shook free, turning on the drones. The hub shook as fights intensified, explosions rocking the structure. The commander laughed from his platform, eyes blazing. He activated a console, sending a global pulse. Quantum signals spiked across Akari, warriors worldwide convulsing, bows glowing. Cities trembled, nearly collapsing under internal assaults. Rio, still pinned, felt the surge. His body arched, but memories flashed. Samurai training, Akihiro's lessons, the ancient bow's pull. He grabbed the relic, smashing it against his quantum bow's core. Sparks flew, the signal fracturing partially. His eyes cleared, body slumping. Kaori pulled him up, recurve firing at drones. "We have to stop him," she said, pointing to the commander. Rio nodded, hybrid bow in hand, now free of full control. The team pushed forward, arrows flying, drones falling. The commander retreated into the shadows, his tentacles lashing. The hub's alarms blared, structure failing. Rio loosed a hybrid arrow, grazing the commander's field. Kaori's shot followed, weakening it further. Warriors, now half-free, joined the assault. The commander countered, energy waves rippling out. Rio dodged, firing back. Kaori covered, her recurve snapping. The fight peaked, the hub crumbling around them. Rio's partial freedom held, samurai echoes guiding his shots. The team closed in, the commander's eyes dimming as barriers fell. Tension peaked, the final clash imminent. The Alorian commander's field crackled, his threats echoing through the crumbling hub. Rio Shin stood defiant, ancient bow in hand, ready to shatter chains that bound humanity's soul. Rio gripped the quantum bow, its core pulsing red in the hub's dim light. The commander loomed, tentacles coiling, eyes blazing. "Destroy that and you perish," he snarled, voice booming from speakers. "Your life ties to our signal." Rio's samurai armor sparked from earlier hits, his long black hair matted with sweat. He raised the bow high, then smashed it against a console. Sparks erupted, the core fracturing in a burst of energy. Waves rippled through him, his body convulsing as the signal fought back. He dropped to one knee, veins glowing, but held firm. "I don't believe you," he growled, crushing the remnants under his boot. The energy faded, his body intact, the threat a bluff. Kaori rushed to his side, recurve bow, firing at incoming drones. "You're free," she said, handing him the ancient samurai bow from Earth. Its wood gleamed, etched with centuries-old kanji. Rio notched a simple wooden arrow, drawing the string taut. The commander laughed, raising his energy shield, a shimmering blue barrier 7 kilometers away atop his spire. "Another quantum toy," he mocked, tentacles gesturing. Rio released the arrow, streaking through the air, silent and unyielding. The commander watched, confident, his shield flaring to intercept. But the arrow, no quantum pulse, pierced clean through, embedding in his chest. His eyes widened, crimson glow flickering. Tentacles thrashed as he staggered, scaled skin cracking. "Impossible," he hissed, collapsing in a heap of sparks and fluid. The hub's alarms wailed, systems failing. Drones halted midair, dropping like stones. Kaori seized the moment, waving her recurve high. "Now!" she shouted, leading the human alliance forward. Warriors freed from signals flickering, charged the spires. Her arrows downed guards, precise shots from 200 meters. Rio followed, ancient bow snapping, wooden arrows striking Alorian tech, disrupting fields. The alliance surged, 500 strong, overwhelming patrols. Lasers clashed with arrows, explosions rocking the ground. Kaori directed flanks, her cloak billowing as she fired, guiding teams through breaches. Eloria's forces crumbled, ships overhead powering down as the central signal died. Warriors across Ikari blinked, quantum bows dimming, minds clearing. On the planet, fighters shook off control, turning on Elorian overseers. Cities erupted in cheers, bows discarded, traditional weapons raised. The Empire's fleet retreated, hulls scarred, vanishing into warp. Rio stood atop the fallen spire, ancient bow in hand, surveying the victory. His stance shifted, shoulders broader, grip firmer on the relic. Kaori joined him, her recurve slung, directing cleanup teams. Her commands rang clear, warriors following without question, her presence a rallying force. The group rebuilt Ikari over 3 months, crystal spires rising anew, fused with ancient designs. Rio forged traditional bows, teaching samurai ways in open fields. Kaori led councils, her strategies etched in stone, becoming a symbol etched in murals. Warriors trained under twin moons, arrows flying true without quantum hum. As Ikari thrived, Rio gazed at the stars, ancient bow at his side. Hope bloomed, but the vast universe whispered of unseen threats, shadows beyond the horizon. Ikari's twin moons bathed the rebuilt capital in silver light, its crystal spires gleaming with new purpose. Rio Shin stood on a cliff, the ancient samurai bow resting in his hands, its wood etched with kanji of honor. Kaori Yumi joined him, her recurve slung across her back, her cloak flowing in the breeze. Below, warriors trained, their arrows slicing the air without the quantum hum. Eloria's defeat had freed their minds, but the cost lingered. Elder Akihiro's sacrifice, a wound in their hearts. Rio's gaze swept the stars, his stance unyielding, forged by battle into a beacon of human resolve. Kari's voice cut through the night. "We're stronger now, truly free." Ikari thrived, its people united, but the galaxy loomed vast, whispering of new threats. The ancient bow, a relic of Earth, held its answer, ready for whatever came next.